This is a topic that I have had on the agenda for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row, and we've had so many different things. We've had pay-per-views and pay-per-view reviews and things like that to talk about. So I've missed it. We've just haven't been able to fit it in. And I can't remember. This may have even been another topic that was from the WWE on Fox. Whoever runs their social media does not get paid enough. I'll say that right now. But it was your favorite match.
What if they make $3 million a year?
I still don't think it's enough. I highly doubt that they are making that much. But I'll hold on to it. I'll hold on to that they're still not making enough. But it was your favorite match from each of the big four pay-per-views: Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and of course Survivor Series. So I did get Ryan's as well, so we won't be without Smokey's answer on this topic. So let's start at Royal Rumble. We'll start just as the calendar starts, and we'll work our way Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. So I'll start with you, Matt. I'll start with you first. What is your favorite match from a Royal Rumble?
I mean, it has to be a Royal Rumble. If it's going to be a match from there.
Does it?
Well, for me.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of, which Rumble I liked the best. And I know Ryan's answer, and that would have been mine, so I'm not going to steal his. So.
I mean, I could let you steal it and claim that he copied from you.
That's fair too. Even though I didn't really like the winner at the time, I really enjoyed the first 40-man Royal Rumble. Just because it was just a little bit of a difference. And since I didn't like the win at the time of Del Rio, and since Worse has just proven himself to be a terrible human being in general. So
yeah.
That just kind of takes some of the shine away from it. But the first 40-man still, I thought, was a lot of fun. So that's going to be mine.
All right. We'll go to Ryan since we were alluding to it, and that was the first women's Royal Rumble was his number one, and that was the one in Philly, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was in Philly. Tim, let's go to you next.
I am very surprised that no one has taken the 1992 Royal Rumble. The first Royal Rumble for a championship with a tear in my eye. Ric Flair from number 3. No one in the history of the Royal Rumble has come in from the numbers 1 through 5 and been there in the end. Shut up. Like Bobby Heenan. That match is my favorite for Bobby Heenan alone. Just hearing Bobby Heenan.
He was so good.
Swear every like it was so great. Ric Flair's entrance at 3 during that Rumble. $1 Million Man had just been eliminated, so of course Bulldog's in the ring. $1 Million Man walks past Ric Flair, and Ric Flair just gets past the curtain, and Bobby Heenan's like, "No, damn it!" Just screams at the top of his lungs. He's like, "This is a death sentence." And of course, that led to some shenanigans for the WrestleMania that year as well. But I will go the 92 Rumble. If you have to pick, if we were picking matches that weren't Royal Rumbles.
Yeah, just hold out, because Matt, I want you to, if you can think of one, a match at a Royal Rumble that's not a Royal Rumble match, and I'll come back to you, Matt. I'll come back to you, Tim, because my match is not a Royal Rumble match, but I will also, I'll pick when I'll loop around. I'll pick a favorite Royal Rumble match. It shouldn't be that hard to figure out for me, but we'll go to.
Zack Ryder hasn't won a Royal Rumble.
we'll go to Mark next, and then we'll get to mine. And then we'll come back to you guys on that as well.
All right, favorite Royal Rumble match. I was thinking like Tim. I picked Royal Rumble 1992, the actual Rumble. I don't. Well, maybe coming up here you'll have beat it with as many superstars and legends that are in the ring at one time. But at that time, to have Hulk Hogan, you had I guess Sid Justice at the time, Ric Flair, Sergeant Slaughter, Roddy Piper, the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich, all those guys in the ring for that match was incredible. Absolute favorite. Now, if I had to pick one that was not the actual Rumble match, I would probably go. I'm pretty sure this was Royal Rumble. Was Cactus Jack against Triple H?
Son of a bitch.
That was,
Got him.
was that a cage match or Hell in a Cell? Or
It was
You
it was a street fight.
disrespectful, stupid
street
idiot.
fight? But yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah,
was so good.
that was Charlie's in the comment as well. That's a pretty popular one.
Sorry, Matt.
My match, because I was trying to think about like great matches that I remembered from Royal Rumbles that weren't Rumbles, and that one actually slipped my mind, which you know, if I really would have thought hard, but I go back to just 2015, Lesnar, Rollins, and Cena. Like I remember when that match was made, a lot of people were like, "Oh my God, why is this match made? It's not going to be any good." And like that was one of my favorite matches that year. It was really, really good. Like that's a match that I can go back and watch from time to time. And obviously, you know, it should come as no surprise to me, a Bret Hart mark, that the 94 Rumble was my favorite. So you know, you had the confusing finish with Brett and Lex. Who was the winner? They were both winners. What the hell does that mean? But it obviously led to Bret Hart winning the championship at WrestleMania 10. So it was pretty good. So Matt, we'll go to you if you want to come up with a different match, or you're just gonna go with what Mark stole right out from under you.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. So if not that one, it would be HBK Triple H at Royal Rumble 2004, just because it's two of my favorites. That a fantastic rivalry, a fantastic match.
And Tim, how about you?
So I'm trying to pick out the exact year. I believe it was Royal Rumble 2007. Just making sure. Yes. Royal Rumble 2007, Last Man Standing, John Cena and Umaga.
Okay.
If you have not seen that match, do it. It is so good. It's just the perfect amount of violence in the WWE.
Okay.
A creative finish using the ring ropes. And that's all I'll say. If you haven't seen it. And Jim, have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen that one.
Do yourself a favor and
I just
crank
wrote
that
it down
up.
because like whenever I'm editing down the audio for the hot tag and stuff like that, I always like to have I usually have some sort of wrestling on my TV, so I'll throw that on. I'll throw that on tomorrow. Actually,
I mean, there's not much going on in the 2007 Royal Rumble. I mean, you've got the Hardys versus Eminem, and that's Eminem after Joey Mercury got his face exploded at Armageddon from the seesaw ladder. Bobby Lashley took on Zack Ryder for the ECW championship. Sorry, that's Test. Batista took on Mr. Kennedy for the World Heavyweight Championship, and then the Royal Rumble was the awesome finish of Taker and Shawn.
Oh, okay.
At the end of that Rumble.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So.
Yeah, like I said, Charlie had Hunter and Cactus Jack Street Fight at MSG. Devin has the Men's Royal Rumble in 2018. for his Royal Rumble match. Charlie says he liked the Rumble. He doesn't remember the year, but it was when Maven eliminated Taker, Austin ruled the ring, and Hunter had returned after the quad injury, which that would have been right before WrestleMania 17. So that would be 2001.
What was that?
The Maven eliminated Taker, Austin ruling the ring, and Triple H returning from the quad injury. So that would have been 01.
Triple H returned in 02.
02? Okay.
Because he won the one that he had his quad.
Oh, you're right.
Austin won 01. So yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, because it was going into WrestleMania 18. So yeah, that would have been 02. Thank you. All right, let's go to WrestleMania. WrestleMania matches. We'll work in reverse. Mark, we'll start with you this time. Your favorite WrestleMania match?
Well, it wasn't the greatest match, but I think it had one of the best builds for the time because it was pre-internet and really all you had was the weekly wrestling shows and then magazines. WrestleMania 3, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. I think that'll probably always be my favorite WrestleMania match. That's really what got me hooked on wrestling.
All right, that's a solid one. Obviously, historic match. Tim, we'll go to you next.
I know that if anybody picks Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt from WrestleMania, I'm quitting the podcast on sight. But if I have to go with one from recent, because there's a lot of recency bias for me.
Sure.
In regards to these kinds of matches. So I'm actually going to pick Kurt Angle and Ronda Rousey versus Triple H and Stephanie McMahon.
Huh.
From WrestleMania, I believe that was 33. 34. 34.
Are you sure about that?
There was a lot of questions going into that match as to how well Ronda Rousey would.
Oh yeah, because that was her first in-ring action
match ever. Yeah. And I'm not saying this is the best, and it's my favorite for right now. But then, like, I'm gonna think like, oh,
right.
Of course, the Undertaker had like 4 classics in a row in like the middle of the 2010s. Yeah, for that match, for what it was, the bar was extremely low and it over delivered.
Yeah, no, that was that one was one that I was pleasantly surprised with. I remember. Matt, we'll go to you next.
So for this one, it's Guerrero versus Angle at 20. Just that whole moment too. With him and Benoit at the end, is despite everything that went on with Benoit, that's still like one of my favorite moments in wrestling. It's just those two guys. Just because you can see like the importance of those titles to those two guys. But I mean, Angle is one of the best in the ring, in my opinion, and Guerrero is one of my favorites. So that one always just stands out to me. It's just like such a fun match to watch over and over again.
And to think that they did that finish at WrestleMania with the boot.
Yeah.
Like that's so. It's such an Eddie. Like an Eddie thing to do.
It was perfect.
Yeah,
it was like, there's very few matches where you can be like, this finish, this moment was booked like perfectly, but that was. I mean, it absolutely was. There was an old SummerSlam I was watching recently. Maybe even from the right after that WrestleMania, but it was Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle, and just spectacular. Those guys were just so good at what they did. We'll go to Ryan's.
Angle's the perfect foe for Guerrero too. With that, just like to sell everything that Eddie is about in the ring. Just not even just moves, but just his facial reactions. It's a masterpiece. I mean, some of these are matches that we have to do watch alongs with
Right.
at some point.
Yeah, I've actually
Sure.
started like a notes in my phone of matches that we want to do watch alongs with, and you know, I definitely want to hit a couple of them in the month of August. You know, it's gonna be hot out. It's gonna be shitty out. COVID mania is still running wild. So let's stay safe and do some watch alongs, Tim.
Isn't it crazy to think that Kurt Angle's prime in WWE was only like 6 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, he had so many great matches between 2000 and when he leaves in 2006, 2007. And then, of course, we get Perk Angle in TNA, but
Sure. Yeah, like that's the crazy part about it is you know, yeah, Angle wasn't long for the WWE world.
No.
But man, he
just had great matches with almost
everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, for Shane McMahon, the best in the world, and you know, to bring along a kid like Kurt Angle and that classic at King of the Ring that one year was
Really
just
carry him. Really
oh my
carry
gosh.
him.
I mean that made Kurt's career really. Ryan had the Sorry I Love You, Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair. Just I mean that moment, I mean the match itself was good, but I mean that moment in and of itself, like, just will absolutely gut you. Obviously for me, it should be no surprise. It's my number one match of all time. So how could it not be my number one WrestleMania match? It's the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. I love that match. Don't give me that face, Tim.
Oh my God! Are you serious,
Don't
bro?
don't you dare!
Shut your ass!
Don't you dare look at me like that. I
God.
love that match.
I bet. What other favorite activities do you have besides watering the grass and watching the paint dry in your basement? Jesus Christ! 60 minutes of fucking what?
Of
It's
greatness.
That
Jim's
match
running
is
soundboard
that
because
match is
boring.
that match is 3 minutes and 23 seconds, and that's after they go an hour, and your dude lost.
Hey, I love it. I've watched that match numerous times, more than I can count.
Best sleep you ever had.
We're talking WWE, not WCW.
Hey now.
Looking back, Devin says Kofi and Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35 is his WrestleMania match. Charlie threw a couple in there, I think. The TLC number 2 is tied with Edge and Foley.
17,
The
yep.
street fight where the was that the table was on fire, I believe.
Yeah, that was at WrestleMania 22.
22. And he also points out that the Kofi and Daniel Bryan Tears of Joy. I think we were all tears of joy in that moment. That was one of the best WrestleMania moments of all time, without question. All right, let's go to SummerSlam. I'm gonna go with another one where my guy lost, and that is SummerSlam '92 from Wembley. The British Bulldog and Bret Hart for the Intercontinental title. I mean, at that time, for the Intercontinental title to main event a pay-per-view was huge. The match was spectacular. I still argue to this day that wasn't the best match that those two guys had against each other. I put December '95 In Your House up against that match, but it was an all-time classic, absolutely. So that's my SummerSlam. Tim, we'll go to you.
Well, this is a perfect segue for my cheap plug. We're doing for Final Wrestling Place this season. We're doing the Boys and Girls of Summer, and we actually just covered Bret Hart.
You sure did.
And 92 is not even his best match at SummerSlam.
No.
Mr. Perfect at 91.
You're right.
For me, that's the bar. But the best match, or at least my favorite match at SummerSlam, is SummerSlam 2016. A young upstart by the name of AJ Styles survived the Super Death Kill Super AA off the second
Yes.
from John Cena and won. That match is so dang good. Yeah, John Cena, AJ Styles from 16 is probably my favorite SummerSlam match.
Yeah, honorable mention for I won't give it in case somebody else has it, but I doubt they will. But we'll go to Mark next.
All right, glad nobody took mine yet. Mine is, I think it's 1997, Undertaker against Bret Hart with Shawn Michaels as referee.
Yeah.
Yep.
97.
That was, and Michaels swung the chair and hit the Undertaker. That was great. And I think Michaels, there was some kind of stipulation where he had to call it right down the middle, or he was fired, or something was going on. But
Or he lost his smile again or something.
Yeah, if Bret lost, he could never wrestle in Canada again. And if Shawn didn't call it down the middle, he could only wrestle in Canada.
He had to sleep with Sonny again.
Oh, darn.
Oh, man. Nowadays, that would have been awful. Kind of difficult, too.
Yeah.
But
Ooh. Not good. Not good.
Conjugal visits, Mark.
that's right. That's right. Poor Sonny.
Way out
Wish
of
her all
line.
the
Way
best.
out of line.
Is Shawn going to slip a file in his lazy eye so she can bust out?
Oh,
God.
what a shame.
Okay, but no, that was a good one. That was a great match, Mark. Matt, what about you?
SummerSlam 95, Michaels versus Razor Ramon, the rematch that everyone was waiting for from WrestleMania. I think the better of the matches, not just because Shawn wins this time, but just I think overall, just the wrestling in that was a lot better. And I think it memory serves, is pretty underwhelming card to begin with on that SummerSlam. So
it's 95. So, yep.
yeah. So I mean, they had the opportunity to steal the show anyway, and I think they did. And as not a huge fan of Razor Ramon, I think that this was like his best work was within that wheelhouse of those couple years. And I think this is probably his best, even though he comes up a little short.
Ryan has the Dudleys, Hardys, and Edge and Christian from 2000.
That's the first TLC.
That was the first TLC. Charlie says, Mark, for your information, they're covering that that pay-per-view. I think he's obviously referring to SummerSlam 97 on What Happened When this week. So you might want to check that out. Let's see. Devin has Styles versus Cena at 2016 as his SummerSlam match. Charlie has Brock and Rock, the crowning of Brock, as his. My honorable mention, because it's one of like my most fun SummerSlam matches, was the one where Brock Lesnar just ragdolled John Cena for like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, John, big match John, Fruity Pebbles John, we can all have our fun with it, but like, that guy went out and just got yucked around a 20 by 20 for the better part of like 15 minutes, and it was fantastic.
If you're talking importance of matches too, the SummerSlam where it was Bryan versus Cena with Triple H as the guest referee,
I think that was 2014.
Yeah,
which led to the Yes Movement thing and hijacking Raw. That was a starting off
2013.
like that. Those like 8 months was just a great time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
What we wouldn't give for one of those yes crowds right now, right?
I mean, I remember watching that and being like, why is Triple H still in the ring? Don't do this to me.
Yeah.
I've wanted this for so long, please. And then it led to just so many great moments after that.
I mean, the reaction from that moment, like, was just, it was like nuclear. I mean, it was like, it truly, like, the bomb went off. Like, people were just so pissed. It was like, we put in our time, damn it. Like, we had all of this build up. We waited. This was our moment as fans. Like, Daniel Bryan was going to win. And look what you did, Hunter. You screwed us again. Obviously it led to a great run, a classic run. RSGP asks, Chronic never had a SummerSlam match.
Yeah, they did. I think they wrestled at SummerSlam.
Oh my God,
2.
it was awful.
It was a cage match, right?
Sure. Sure, not many Chronic matches stick up in my brain out of all the things in wrestling that are up there bouncing around.
Well, I'm mad at Matt because he put the bug in my ear to look at SummerSlam 95.
How bad? How bad?
So there's a couple of good ones here. So there's Hakushi versus the 1-2-3 Kid. Sparkplug Holly took on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. The Smoking Guns took on Bad Place Hall of Famers, the Blue Brothers. Barry Horowitz took on Skip and won. Bertha Faye beat Alundra Blaze for the women's championship. Undertaker took on Kama in a 16-minute casket match. Woof. Followed up by Bret Hart and Isaac Yankem DDS for another 16 minutes. And then we get the ladder match that Matt talked about, and the main event of SummerSlam 1995. The 1995 King of the Ring, Mabel,
Houston, we have a problem.
WWF champion Big Daddy Cool Diesel in the main event, and it was 9 whole minutes.
It stinks. It stinks. It stinks.
It's brutal. I mean, I didn't even go back and look, but I just remember.
And that's a SummerSlam.
That was in Pittsburgh.
That's a SummerSlam.
I said it was underwhelming, but wow.
Like,
I mean,
that's not even like in your house worthy. That happened at a SummerSlam. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how did that? Like, how does that happen? Like, the WWE, right, wrong, or indifferent, gets a lot of shit, like in the Twitter era. But holy hell, they could be doing a lot worse. Like, let's be honest, they could be doing a whole hell of a lot worse. They've done a whole hell of a lot worse. My God,
I wonder how they got through 95. I'll tell you.
Oh
what.
my God,
That
what
was
a
bad.
A lot of Mantars.
Look, what a bad
Briar
SummerSlam.
Jim, you had to go
Briar
through
Ferguson.
the whole gauntlet of like the disappointing soundboard.
Yeah.
that card.
I'm like, man, I don't know if I have enough sounds for this.
Yeah,
Thing sucks.
it did suck. The whole thing sucked.
I was like, I'm running down all of the things. I'm like, okay, I can hit this one. I can hit this one. Oh my God, there's still more matches. This isn't good. Charlie, yes, Hulk and Earthquake was at SummerSlam 90 in the Spectrum. That was part of the double main event. One of my favorite things to do, because I had that on VHS. Obviously, I have DVD now. Is because after the match, after Boss Man had hit Earthquake in the back like 40 times with a step stool, and like just these welts and cuts on Earthquake's back, there's a really long promo with Jimmy Hart, Dino Bravo, and Earthquake, because they were setting up the salad steel cage. So they had to do a shitload of interviews and stuff backstage, and Earthquake would bounce back and forth, like he wouldn't stand still. Go back and watch that promo on Fast Forward. He's like, like the guy's just going back and forth at about 1,000 miles a minute, which is pretty classic. All right, let's move ahead to Survivor Series. Now I'll tell you this: I did not pick a Survivor Series match.
I have one of each.
I couldn't even. If off the top of my head, if I had to pick a Survivor Series match, I would probably go with the Hart family versus the King's Court, just because it led to the Owen Hart heel turn and all of that. And then the match at WrestleMania 10, because Owen was the only one of the brothers that got eliminated. But
that makes me really glad that I picked the match that I picked.
So I think that's actually that was the Hart Foundation versus Shawn Michaels and his Knights.
Right, because it's supposed to be Lawler, but he may or may not have done inappropriate things, I think.
Maybe.
So knows? He wasn't allowed to be on TV at that point. They were just like, Jerry, let's not have you. And like Jerry's over there like,
oh, don't make me beg now.
So that's why it was Michaels and the Knights. But we'll start, Matt. We'll start with you. You can give your two matches.
So obviously my non-Survivor Series match is going to be from '97, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, aka the Montreal Screwjob. Just because it finally got rid of some of the garbage that was in WWF for so long, and paved the way.
Don't you dare take that tone with me.
Such a good time, but no, just the actual significance of that match is the reason why, not just because Shawn beat Bret again. And then going actual Survivor Series from 2009, Team Kofi Kingston versus Team Randy Orton was a ton of fun. If you go back and watch that, that was back before Kofi had the rocket up his ass that he did recently, and people didn't know would Kofi ever get past the mid card, and this was kind of a hint of what we could see in Kofi, and then they just did nothing with it for another 6 years, and then finally we're like, oh hey, this guy is actually pretty good.
This guy's really freaking good.
Yeah. So before Kofi was just a novelty act at the Royal Rumble, this was a very fun Survivor Series match, and I almost picked the one where Dolph Ziggler carried Cena's team, just because again, the last time we've seen Dolph Ziggler be relevant in quite some time, but I really enjoyed the Kingston versus Orton Survivor Series teams a little bit more.
Ryan,
that was the debut of Sting, the Dolph Ziggler match,
right.
The Dolph Ziggler carry job.
Ryan had the screw job as well. I did not pick that one because I figured that was going to be a popular one, so I went off the. I didn't want to have too many Bret Hart matches in my four. Mark, how about you? Survivor Series.
Well, let's see the actual Survivor Series match. I'm going to go with the first Survivor Series in '87, and it was Hogan's team against Andre the Giant, and Andre was Rick Rude, One Man Gang, Butch Reed. Oh boy, I can't remember who else. And then Hogan had, I think Paul Orndorff. He was supposed to have superstar Billy Graham, but he was injured, so Don Morocco took his place. Hogan had Ken Patera and I think Bam Bam Bigelow. And Andre won that, and he just beat the crap out of Bam Bam at the end. So that was pretty good. And for singles match, I'm going to go with, I think it was '96. It was, I believe, the first time Bret Hart faced Steve Austin.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. It was that was Bret's return match, right? From from the I think he had a knee surgery or something, then he was taking time off. Yeah, that's a classic. That is an absolute classic, and that of course led to the match at WrestleMania 13.
Yeah, that heel team you were talking about, Mark. That was Andre, One Man Gang, King Kong Bundy, Butch Reed, and Rick Rude.
Man, there's some names
Crazy.
there. All right, Tim, how about you? Survivor Series.
Survivor Series match, Team WWF versus Team Alliance from 2001. The culmination of the horribly mismanaged, underdone invasion angle. But as far as my one-on-one match, I feel like there's a bunch of recency bias on my cards.
No judgment here.
Yeah, my favorite is from Survivor Series 2018. Raw's Universal Champion Brock Lesnar taking on the WWE Champion Daniel Bryan.
Nice. That match was so good.
Yeah, it was at that time where there was a string of opponents for Brock. Finn Balor, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, where it's like, it's the little guys that are going to be able to crack the paint and get in on the beast.
Sure.
Eventually Seth Rollins does it at WrestleMania and then does again later, I think, at one of the Super Saiyan shows, I think.
Yes. Yeah, one of those.
Yeah.
Well, they all blend together, really.
Yeah, they all kind of do. Like Stand.
Yeah. For me, I had, and it was a kind of recency bias thing. I had the Brock versus AJ Styles, champ versus champ, at Survivor Series in 2017. And I think that may have kind of kicked off that string of, hey, let's put Brock in with these little guys, and it could be a lot of fun, sort of a thing. So that one was really good. I was kind of debating between that one and The Undertaker beating Hogan at 91 for the title. Not necessarily because it was that good of a match, but like the moment of, this guy who's only been there for a year, putting in, seemingly almost putting an end, it felt like, to Hulkamania and taking the title, and but that Brock Styles match was just really good. So it's definitely one that you should go and check out if you're looking for wrestling to watch. Devin had the men's Raw versus SmackDown Survivor Series match in 2016. Charlie's was last year's NXT versus Raw versus SmackDown. And then he had as a regular match Mankind and the Rock from 98, which I think was Deadly Games. Was his singles match. So